Extended school year services are designed to ensure that special needs student maintains skills and/or positive behaviors that have been learned during the school year. ESY services are written into IDEA, the federal legislation. It was established in 1997 in response to case law. That is, some situations had gone to court. It is listed on the IEP form near the end of the document. The ESY services, like the school services obtained during the regular school calendar year, are part of the Free Appropriate Public Education, FAPE, which the school district is obligated to provide. Who is eligible? A student is eligible for extended school year services if that student needs education services in order to maintain skills or positive behaviors they have developed as identified on the IEP. The determination of whether a student needs ESY services is made on an individual basis. The decision is up to the IEP team, which consists of the parent, the student when appropriate, the general education teacher, the special education teacher, providers of related services, and a school representative that has authority to commit resources, and then others as appropriate. So then how is the need for ESY services measured? It must be individualized. It is not based on a formula or a policy. Your child's IEP team will consider the student's progress on the current IEP goals. Qualifying for ESY services one year does not automatically guarantee eligibility the next year. It needs to be reconsidered each year. ESY is meant to help a student to maintain skills. It is not meant to introduce new goals, new objectives, new benchmarks, or new services. Some factors considered in the determination of whether a child will have ESY is the likelihood of significant regression in learned skills or delayed recoupment of learned skills after services resume, emerging skills that should be supported when the child is close to a breakthrough, critical life skills that need attention, and a broad range of relevant factors must also be considered, such as the category of disability, the severity of the disability, the parent's ability to provide an appropriate educational structure at home, the student's rate of progress, and the student's rate of developing mastery. The team should consider information from a variety of sources. The measurement must be sensitive to small changes that occur during short breaks, not just the long ones. Consider both prior experience and also predictive information. While regression is the most common reason for providing ESY services, it is not necessary for a student to demonstrate regression before approving ESY services. There are these other ways that a parent and school can justify ESY services. Rates for regression and recoupment vary among individuals and from year to year. One guideline is that in the fall, when the school year begins, skills from the previous school year should be recouped within about 6 weeks. If a student does not meet all the goals, that does not by itself justify ESY services. Requirements for Least Restrictive Environment, LRE, in the academic year also do apply to ESY services. However, a school is not required to create new programs as a means of providing ESY. The full continuum of educational options is typically not available during ESY, such as during the summer or during a Christmas break. The team is allowed to be creative in meeting the unique needs of the individual. The team, school and parents both, must consider provision of related services, including appropriate transportation and therapies. Providers of ESY services must be provided by, or at least supervised by, staff that are certified and qualified. Summer school is not the same as ESY. Summer school is optional for the school. Summer school is a general education setting. Summer school is teaching new content. Think of history class, biology class, that kind of thing. Summer school is subject to paying a fee, and it is typically operated on a set schedule. A student's team may decide that participation in a summer school experience is appropriate. There would need to be collaboration and documentation of how it relates to the student's goals on the IEP, the Individualized Education Plan. In planning for ESY, the team must specify which goals will be reinforced during that ESY time when providing the services. They must describe the type of services and the specific dates of service. Regarding procedural safeguards, parents' rights. Parents are a part of the team making the decisions about ESY services. The student can also be an active member of the team. ESY is part of the IEP process, and all of the same protections apply. When the team is discussing and there's a disagreement over what ESY services are appropriate, the same avenues are available for conflict resolution as in any IEP dispute. These can include calling another meeting. The parents can bring a helper to the meeting. Parents can file a complaint with the State Department of Education. Parents can request mediation through the State Department of Ed. And the parents could file a request for a due process hearing. All of these last ones are considered adversarial approaches. Calling another meeting, bringing a helper to the meeting would be considered low-level conflict resolution. ESY services do not cost anything to the parent, same as regular school year. This is FAPE, Free Appropriate Public Education. The public school district is responsible for the provision of ESY. ESY services do qualify for the district to use federal funds from IDEA. IDEA 2004 reimburses a percentage of the cost. It's part of the annual budget for the district. The school may not use an argument of budgetary constraint as a reason to limit services that individual student truly requires. Here are some handy pointers regarding ESY services. It's smart to address the ESY planning early in the year. It can be discussed any time of year with the annual IEP meeting. It can also be discussed in a separate addendum meeting. It's common to talk about it in the early spring when there's still plenty of time to plan for summer. But ESY is not limited to summer, so it can be discussed anytime. The team should set up a way to measure suspected regression, just like they measure progress on goals. Remember that ESY services are meant to maintain skills and not to introduce new skills. ESY is not the same as summer school. Extended school year services must be considered for all students who are eligible under IDEA. If the student has an IEP, ESY must be discussed and then noted on the IEP document. Not all goals on the IEP need to be addressed in ESY. It can be appropriate to select 1, 2, or 3 key goals to address outside of that standard school year. Qualifying 1 year does not guarantee eligibility in the future. The LRE, Least Restrictive Environment, requirements need to be considered but do not need to be limiting as services and schedules and placement are decided. ESY services require the involvement of certified and qualified staff. A parent can choose to reject ESY services. This too should be documented on the IEP. For more information, there are many resources available to you. For example, the State of South Dakota Department of Education can be reached with a phone call. There's a specialist assigned to your part of the state. On their website, there are many different helpful documents, including the one they call the primer on the provision of extended school year services. You can read it online, you can print from there, or we can provide it from our office. The Mountain Plains Regional Resource Center serves to support the many states in this area. And then you can sure contact your South Dakota Parent Connection. Here's the toll-free number. It's your parent training and information center regarding kids with disabilities and chronic health care needs. If we can be of any further assistance, please contact us. Thank you.